Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MPJ New Rock Album Review Time. I'm your host Nigel. Welcome to my panel, to Ian, to Simon, to Trish and to William. Welcome,
Hello.
Rock on.
This is our first time recording this.
Yes. Funny. So, they're being mean to me, everybody. They're being mean to me. What's this show all about? Well, we are reviewing the latest rock albums from July 23, and we rate them out of 5 for our listening pleasure, but we put them head to head. Today, the battle is Raven Age versus the Edge of Paradise. Raven Age with their new album Blood Omen, and Edge of Paradise with their album Hologram. Right, who are Raven Age? Let's start with Raven Age and their album Blood Omen. The members are George Harris, Matt Cox, Jai Patel, Matt James and Tommy Gentry. Raven Age are an English heavy metal band formed in London in 2009 by guitarist Harrison Wright. Harris is the son of Ian... Oh, look at... hold the music, guys. Harris is the son of Iron Maiden bassist Steve Harris. Whoop whoop. In 24, the band recorded and released their self-titled EP before supporting Steve Harris' British Lion and Tremonti on separate tours. The band then supported Iron Maiden on the Book of Souls World Tour in 2016, and then the band announced their debut album, Darkness Will Rise, would be released in 2016, but it was instead released in 2017. They followed by supporting Killswitch Engage and Tremonti on their tours in 2018. The band released their second album, Conspiracy, in 2019, and Conspiracy has received over 130 views. I mean, it's not quite as many as us. On YouTube in June 2019, and now they're here with Blood Omens. Talking of Blood Omen, then let's start with you, Simon. I mean, I know that you're into a bit of Blood Omen, maybe. I don't know. Are you? I don't know. I'm making it up as usual. Simon, Raven Age, is that something that you've come across before? And what do you think?
Disclaimer: I'm not into Blood Omens. So,
my research has gone out the window again.
This is some solid metal. There's a good mix of tones in the songs without straying too far from what their core sound is, which sounds... It's kind of like more like the early works of Avenged Sevenfold, is what I think. The guttural moments in Serpent's Tongue, really welcome. I really enjoyed the sort of ballad-esque melody of Essence of Time. Forgive and Forget was really catchy, though the title makes me think of Forlorn and Forsaken by Alden Hogan, so that's not a bad thing. I have listened to this album on repeat a few times. I'm finding it difficult to actually vocalise what it is that keeps this album from scoring more highly for me. There just seems to be... There's something missing. There's a tiny bit of something missing. By damn, it's a good album. I do really like it. I've put Raven Age on my follow list. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. There's just... I'm not sure. Maybe it will get highlighted by someone else, but there's a tiny something missing that would make this a fantastic album.
Well, okay, let's move on then to Trish, and let's be honest about it. There's nothing tiny missing about Trish. She is perfect. So, Trish, what do you think?
Wow.
What have you done, Nigel?
You broke
Trish.
She can't take a compliment, that's why.
Brace yourself.
No,
Go.
I wasn't expecting it. Okay, The Raven Age. I'd not heard of them, but going by the title of the album and the album cover of it, I was expecting something quite dramatic. And with the changing of the guard, an instrumental guitar and drums with quiet operatic voices building the suspense, and then it stops. You're then holding your breath to see what is next. Then wham, you're hit in the face with fast-beating drums and guitars with Parasite. The rest of the album flows in this heavy metal sound, which I didn't find overpowering. The Journey had a sound to me of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, and for me, The Journey is one of my favourite tracks on the album. I surprisingly enjoyed this album, as heavier than my usual rock listening. It's a powerful rock album, and maybe they are the new Metallica, Iron Maiden to rise as a new wave of heavy metal giants to even headline Download.
Ooh, high praise indeed. Now, I find it difficult not to give high praise to my next guest, William. What did you think of Raven Age? Is it something that you enjoyed?
So, firstly, Blood Omen is a fantastic name for an album. It's very cool.
Isn't it just? But
also, for legal reasons, I am also not into Blood Omens. I do not condone their... You know, they had their time in, you know, the 10th century, but it's kind of... God, we're past all that now.
Okay. I thought you were a time traveller, but we'll move on.
You'd be, you know, understandable. So, this album starts off with, you know, the classic, as we've come to expect from a lot of our albums now, with our slow instrumental intro song, and then kicks into the actual album proper. This is one of the times where I think it wasn't exactly necessary, because, you know, it didn't sort of fade you into that first song quite as effectively as a lot of other ones do. It's, you know, Parasite, it starts off not sort of the same sort of tone as that intro does, but it's a good, you know, it gets your head in the right kind of space to it. It's just a solid album. It's a weird way to describe it, but it's almost like it's the modern equivalent of the classic heavy metal sound. You know, it's just really good heavy metal. You can kind of, you know, as you know, you guys have already said, the influences of Metallica, Iron Maiden. It's that kind of sound that if it was made now, which obviously, you know, my biggest critique of the old, you know, those older metal bands that do stuff now is they're still trying to do the same sound then. But this is almost the evolution of what metal has become, which I say it's really good. I'm a big fan of this album. Like Simon says, well, Forgive and Forget, fantastic song. Makes me think of Powerwolf though, with Fire and Forgive. Probably because that song lives in my head 24/7 anyway. But, sorry, it's just a really solid heavy metal album. I can't really fault anything in it. It's very enjoyable.
Okay, talk about somebody who is very enjoyable, Ian.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I also thoroughly enjoyed this album. I will be honest, I probably know what a Blood Omen is, and I also disassociate myself of it. I'm just not familiar with the actual phrase Blood Omen. We know what it is, just don't know what it's called. But I disassociate myself from it completely as well.
Just for the record, guy, I don't think anybody in this panel is actually into blood sacrifice in Vikings. I think we've watched a little bit too much of Vikings here to kind of go, you know. I mean,
for legal reasons, I cannot confirm anything.
So, Raven Age. I agree with everybody that said. I think Simon said he couldn't quite work out what was missing. And I think we've hit it on the nail on the head in terms of talking about that opening track, which is beautiful nylon guitar, strings, and the drums building, and then it just stops, and then bam, Parasite kicks in. That should have been instantaneous. It should have built up and just kicked straight in, and you would have been elevated to the point that second song takes those few extra seconds to get you to. And I think that just would have sent it soaring. And I think there were a couple of little things. It was a touch heavy for me in places, and I felt it was unnecessary to be that heavy. I get that if you want to sing or you want to play a certain style and you're good at it, yes, you want to include that, but you should only include it when it's appropriate. And I genuinely didn't feel, I can't remember which track it was, but there was a bit of like almost screamo. It wasn't quite screamo, but it was real rough singing. I just felt it was a little bit out of place in that song. And I think that there's just a couple of tiny little tweaks to be made, could have made this absolutely sensational. That being said, that is my only criticism. It's so slight. I thought it was fantastic production, a good variety of tracks that kept a consistent identity throughout at all. I thought standout tracks for me was Serpent's Tongue, Forgive and Forget, the great build up to that like soaring chorus vocals just sent you like to heaven in your head in The Journey, that also has a delicious guitar solo. Absolutely just beautiful. War in Heaven was great, and Tears of Stone, what storytelling and a beautiful vocal intro. I mean, I really enjoyed this album, and when albums are good, I've said it before, when albums are good, it's easy to listen to them too. When challenged, not so much. I chose to listen to this quite a few times because I really enjoyed it. So, and it's interesting to hear that it's the son of Steve Harris.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, having that sort of influence as a father. Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah.
I'm going to concur. This is a brilliant album, and some of the tracks I've written added to my playlist was The Journey, War in Heaven, Tears of Stone, absolutely. And yet at the same time, even though I really love that album, there's something kind of not. There was something. I agree with you, Simon. There was something just that. What was missing, and I kind of listened to what, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it. Maybe, and listening to everybody, I think I've kind of formulated my thoughts a little bit, but to say that I think they strayed into slightly different genres, because we talked about Metallica, we talked about whatever, and they were really good, but they weren't amazing. Now, you know, when we looked at bands such as White Raven Down and Black Orchid Empire, which really kind of went more for that deep bassist kind of, you know, heavy kind of rock, and they excelled in those, but they also tried to kind of bring in various different things. So we did Ashes for New recently on a previous one, and they mixed in, they kept their core style and they brought in different things. Whereas I think this album sometimes strayed without remaining its core. But saying that, we're nitpicking here. We are nitpicking here to kind of explain what that you know, put the final jewel in the crown, because this is, without any shadow of a doubt, a very listenable, enjoyable, good album. I mean, it is a fantastic album. But there's something that I wouldn't say it was the best album in the style of that it's in that I've heard all year. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really, really good album, and something I will definitely be going back to time and again from that side of things as well.
It's really telling, isn't it? When it's really telling when every criticism everyone's had is just nitpicks.
Yeah.
Right. That's,
yeah.
Solid, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. But then, you know, when you've listened to
things,
when you've listened to albums that it's just you just love, you know, you just like, and you can't find a criticism for it. And it's really hard, and it sounds like we're being kind of maybe a bit. But anyway, it's our listening pleasure. So there's something that's not quite there, but it's still a fantastic album. Could take some beating, I think, on this one. Will Edge of Paradise and Hologram be able to summon up the battle? Will they draw those battle lines? Let's find out, shall we? Because there's somebody that we're going to start with Trish, because she's damn no hologram. This is no hologram. This is the real thing. Yeah. And she's going to bring us to the Edge of Paradise, I'm sure of it. Then we can find out. Trish, Edge of Paradise. No, before you do, Trish, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them.
Tell us about them.
I'm just testing you there. The band consists of Margarita Monet, Dave Bates, David Ruiz, Vanya Kapatikanyov, or something like that, and Jimmy Lee. Thank God for Jimmy. Simple name there. Edge of Paradise is an American rock band formed in Los Angeles, California, United States, 2011. The band currently consists of the people I've just mentioned. The band is known for its heavy guitars, complemented by industrial and classic influences, as well as Monet's large vocal range. In 2010, Monet was featured in Metalholic's 25 Women of Hard Rock and Metal. Whoop, whoop. And after release of their album Edge of Paradise, toured over 20 states, sharing the stage with Camelot, Chris Bodrick of Megadeth, Bullet Boys, Hellion, Helmet, Dave Lombardo of Slayer, and Michelangelo Batito. There we go. Trish.
Hey, so this album hits all the right notes for me from the get-go, with the title track Holograms, which is awesome opener to the album with its melodic symphonic hard rock with electro influences, which makes this type of rock music fresh and new. This has all the ingredients, which has produced a formula with an album overflowing with melodies and hooks, and it has me hooked and reeled into, especially with an electro twist on it.
Ooh, okay. William, your dulcet tones always take us to the edge of paradise. Will they do so again, my friend?
Thank you.
Will they do so again?
Oh, like always. This was pretty cool. It's almost like they took the the instrumentation of Rammstein, added in some female vocals, decided to sing in English, and
bonus
added a more and added that more electronic-y sort of sound to it, which it sounds like a weird combination, industrial metal with electro. But it's, for me, it really fit really well. My only critique is, from me, a lot of the albums, because of it, is that sort of electronic-y sound. The vocals sound that sort of like auto-tuned, electric-y sound to it. A lot of the music, a lot of songs do end up sounding quite similar to one another, and a lot of the songwriting it's not the most imaginative out there. A lot of the songs are them sort of repeating the same things over and over. It's not hugely diverse in the lyricism, but other than that, this was a really enjoyable, solid listen. It's cool, good vocals, good sound, really nice industrial electric music in the background. This is pretty cool. I like it.
Wow. Okay. So just for the record here, I'm really annoyed at William because he kind of went like he wasn't going to think, looking forward to this month's podcast, and that everything was terrible, and he's been ruining me down the wrong path. Damn you! But I love it at the same time. Talking about loving at the same time.
You got played.
I got played. William played me beautifully. Role played me beautifully. Talking about again, the edge of paradise, because you all take me to the edge of paradise whenever I hear your dulcet tones. Ian, Edge of Paradise, Hologram, heard of them? Liked them?
Not heard of them. Love them. This album was just really enjoyable, solid, heavy rock. Absolutely, if you want an album that is great quality, absolutely top draw production. I just absolutely enjoyed the production on this. Those female vocals, I think it was mentioned in previous, like, female rock vocalists just bring something that male vocalists, maybe it's because we're used to hearing more male vocalists than female vocalists, or maybe it's just the range. I don't know what it is, but it just brings that little extra edge to it, just that little extra. I was blown away by it. I mean, Hologram is an absolute statement of intention for the album. You have just left the station, you've done the first drop, and you're now on the rock roller coaster. And it doesn't stop right until the end. You've got Soldiers of Danger is a fantastic track. Basilisk, just the title alone. There's many of us here that love Harry Potter. And to get Basilisk in there and the battles that they faced and what the Basilisk meant in that film. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. And in that one was a great vocal masterclass, which I thought was really defined in the Faceless, the storytelling. And a lot of the albums I listen to in the car when we're going somewhere, and my partner picked up, she said, it's really clear to understand what she's singing. The words and lyrics that she's singing is really clear to understand, and I completely agree with her on that. I am pushing her to try and contact you, Nigel, to guest, because I think she'd provide some really interesting thoughts. Unbeatable, hard pumping rock, great sounding beat to that as well. I mean, it's just completely standout album, I thought. 100%.
Cool. Well, Simon, Simon, if I've got to say this month, any of these albums would be your cup of tea. I wouldn't potentially be saying it was this one. But what did you think anyway?
story time. So the first time I listened to this album was in my car, and I mentioned this to Nigel because I swear there was this kind of like sickly sound at the end of all of the vocalists' lines, like ASMR gone wrong. So I did re-listen to it on my headphones. I've re-listened to it on Bluetooth speaker, and it isn't there. But it is when I'm listening to it in the car, which it comes back to what I've said on previous shows about like how important your listening environment is when listening to music. And I'm really worried that I'm going to start becoming some kind of audiophile and start talking about monitors and waves and stuff. So anyway, onto the album. Hollow, absolutely solid opener. Momentum has been kept up by This Is Personal, Soldiers of Danger, absolute cracking songs. My favourite from the album is The Faceless, great song. I really like the melodic sort of nature of it. But the outro to Dark makes it a solid contender for me. It's one of my favourites from the track, because the outro to that's so cool. I could tell there was a story behind the song. Behind the songs and in the lyrics. Unfortunately, it did go over my head this time. I did miss it, which is unusual because I usually pick up on the story, but for some reason, I just missed it when I was listening through it this time. I think the vocals are the key for me to this band. Her vocals, you're either going to love that slightly higher pitch tone than a lot of other female-fronted bands have, or you're going to hate it. And I'm on the love side. I really enjoyed it. But it also does keep it ever so slightly off of getting the highest marks for me, because some of the songs it is a little bit... I'd like to have seen her change her style up just ever so slightly in some of the songs, because it doesn't always fit the tone of every single track. So, but yeah, overall fantastic.
I think Simon, we might be sharing the same headphones at the minute, because I absolutely agree with everything you just said. I think this is for me, the Dark. Yeah, I totally agree with your analogy on that one. Hologram, and I really enjoyed This Is Personal as well. And I think her vocals are outstanding. I think the arrangements were awesome. And like you, again, a bit like with Raven Age, there's something missing, and to put that final little, jewel in the tiara, if you like, and I don't quite know what it is, and I think there's obviously we've reviewed some amazing bands Beyond the Black and Elysion and Phantom Elite, and I would put this kind of in that sort of genre, and yet I didn't find. I think William mentioned about it more straying to more simplistic and maybe going towards that, dare I say, kind of pop rock on times with some of the electros, if you like, and it was very minor switch, but it kind of drifted that way on times, and I wanted to pull it back to be more kind of hardcore a little bit, because I think the musical style kind of suited that, but equally This Is Personal was more straying towards that, if you like. So I like variation, and I think sometimes they try to bring in some styles that I just took that edge just a tiny. And we are nitpicking here, by the way. Again, we're nitpicking here. Yeah. So, but what an album! It was definitely, you know when you start an album how much you're going to enjoy, and I did enjoy this album, and I have listened to it several times, and that's a sign of a really, really good album. So again, a really, really good album. Oh, do you know what? In the previous show yesterday, we had a real battle, and I'm funny feeling that this is going to be a royal battle. It's going to be a battle to hell and back again between these two. What is very, very good, good albums. Right. Whew. Okay. Let's start with Simon then. Simon, Raven Age.
4.5.
4.5. Will.
I think I've got it the same. 4.5.
4.5. Trish.
5.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Go. Ian.
It's a 4.5 for me. That pause cost them that half mark.
It's going to be a shock here. But it's a 4.5 for me as well.
Woo! What's the last?
But
4.5 is nearly all round.
That is a sensational score, which I think will put them joint top of our Hall of Fame. I mean, because that is outstanding. That's 2 marks off a perfect score, which we've never had, of course. But that is absolutely outstanding. Okay. Can Edge of Paradise match this? And congratulations, Raven Age, Hall of Fame, top 10. Wow, you're going to be in the battle for surely for Album of the Year, and it's going to be in that running. Okay, Simon, Edge of Paradise.
4.
4. Oh, Raven Age, just cling on to that one. Trish.
4.5.
Raven Age wins again. 2 up. William.
Same again. 4.
4.
Raven Age has had that much more.
Oh, okay. Ian. He's frozen, guys. He's frozen. No.
He's keeping us on edge. What's he going to say?
Frozen.
No.
Oh, he's back.
No.
He's back.
Am I back?
You're back.
I'm back.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that was terrible. That was terrible.
I love both these albums. It's that pause that separated. It's a 5 for
this. 5. Shock of shocks, everybody. 4.5. 4.5, and I would give it to Edge of Paradise. I think just because I'm into my female vocalist right now, and I'd want to add her to my collection. But there we go. That's another big score, isn't it? You're looking at 9, 14, 18, 22. I mean, both albums get into the Hall of Fame. Both albums, I think, will be shortlisted for Album of the Year. What a battle! I don't think we've had such a 2 high-scoring albums together on a head-to-head. I mean, Raven Age win it, but who cares? I mean, because they're both winners. There is a phenomenal... Yeah. Thank you very much to both artists. What a treat you've given us this month. 2 great albums. Congratulations. Welcome to the MPJ Hall of Fame. And good luck. Good luck for the end of the year, and potentially getting into our Album of the Year, which is now it's hotting up, isn't it? I mean, wow. I mean, hotting up, big time. So congratulations to Raven Age. However, congratulations to Edge of Paradise as well on 2 blindly good albums. Thank you very much to my wonderful crew today, to Ian, to Trish, to Simon, and to William. If you please, people out there, if you're listening, if you like it, please subscribe to our channel. Check out all our wonderful, wicked interviews that we have, and all the latest album reviews. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and keep rocking.
Woo! Woo! Keep rocking.